Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Protein Health Education Program. My name is Alyssa Gailey, and I'm a registered dietitian, and today we are going to be talking about protein and the ins and outs of it, and then we're also going to be doing a little cooking demo at the end, so be sure to stay tuned. And then after that, we will have a Q&A session where we hope that you will be able to get all your questions answered. So let's get started here. Like I said, we're going to be talking about protein today. So some things that we are going to cover today are, we are going to be talking about protein and why it's the key part of a healthy diet, why it's important to understand how much protein is enough and where you can find good sources of it. And we'll learn about the fundamentals of protein, how much protein is recommended, some tips to help you get enough, healthy sources of protein, and then again, we're going to have a cooking demo at the end of a recipe with really good protein sources in it. All right. So protein is often referred to as the building blocks of life. This is because every single cell in the human body contains protein, and it has many important functions. Chiefly, protein helps your body repair cells and make new ones. It's also necessary for growth and development, and it's important for many body processes, such as blood clotting, fluid balance, immune response, vision, and the production of hormones and enzymes. Protein is made up of small building blocks called amino acids, which are linked to one another in long chains. The sequence of amino acids in the chain determines the structure and function of each protein. There are 20 individual amino acids that can be combined in different ways to make every type of protein found in the body. These amino acids can be divided into two categories. Essential amino acids cannot be made by the body and must come from food. There are 9 essential amino acids. And non-essential amino acids. They can be made by the body, and there are 11 non-essential amino acids. All right, so dietary proteins are not all created equal. They can be categorized by how many essential amino acids they provide. Complete proteins contain all of the essential amino acids in adequate amounts. Examples of complete proteins include animal foods like dairy products, eggs, meat, poultry, and seafood, and soy. Incomplete proteins are missing or don't have enough of one or more of the essential amino acids. Examples of incomplete proteins include plant foods like beans and peas, grains, nuts and seeds, and vegetables. Complementary proteins are 2 or more incomplete proteins that form a complete protein when combined at the same meal or during the same day. Here's an example. Grains are low in an amino acid called lysine, and legumes are low in an amino acid called methionine. When grains and legumes are eaten together, example, rice and beans, they form a complete protein. The amount of protein needed varies based on your age and gender. The United States Department of Agriculture recommends that women and men over the age of 51 get 46 and 56 grams of protein per day, respectively. We'll talk a lot about how much protein is in certain foods during today's class, and this will help you understand how easy it is to get the recommended amounts in a healthy way. Protein needs can also be calculated with the following equation. Current body weight times 0.36 will equal your daily protein needs. This will give you a more specific number. According to the FDA, most Americans get the recommended amounts of protein to meet their needs. If you think you may not be getting enough, try to keep track of how much protein you eat for a week. You can use the nutrition facts label as a tool to track your intake. This label will show the amount of protein in grams of one serving of the food. All right, so now we're going to take a look at 10 healthy sources of protein, and we'll talk about why each is a good source of protein, how to incorporate it in your diet, and some special things to consider. Alrighty, so our first food is lean beef. Red meat is tricky. It's a complete protein, so it has all of the essential amino acids, and depending on the cut, it boasts an impressive 20 to 30 grams of protein per 3.5 ounce serving. However, red meat can be high in harmful saturated fats, but choosing lean or extra lean cuts of beef helps reduce fat and cholesterol while still offering lots of protein. The USDA defines a lean cut of beef as a 3.5 ounce serving that contains less than 10 grams of total fat, 4.5 grams of saturated fat, and 95 milligrams of cholesterol. A 3.5 ounce serving of an extra lean cut of beef must contain less than 5 grams of total fat, 2 grams of saturated fat, and 95 milligrams of cholesterol. Many cuts of beef meet these regulations. The following cuts of beef are considered extra lean. I have round roast and steak, sirloin tip side steak, top round roast and steak, bottom round roast and steak, and top sirloin steak. These tips can also help you pick the healthiest cuts of beef. Choose cuts graded choice or select rather than prime, which usually has more fat. Select cuts with the least visible fat or marbling. Opt for packages with the highest percentage of lean meat. Another tip I have is just going for cuts that say loin or round. As you'll notice, the ones that I listed off all have the word loin or round in them. And so that's just a really quick way to see if it's a leaner cut of meat. Poultry is another excellent example of a complete protein. A 4-ounce boneless, skinless chicken breast has about 22 grams of protein, and a few slices of lunch meat, turkey breast, typically has around 10 grams. Many people consider poultry to be a healthy substitute for beef, but there are some important guidelines to follow to keep it as healthy as possible. First, stick to mostly white meat. The leanest poultry is white meat from the breast with no skin. Be careful when choosing ground poultry. It can have as much fat as ground beef has, or more because it often includes the skin and dark meat. Look for lean ground chicken or turkey. Next, remove the skin and trim the fat. Cut off any visible solid fat. It's okay to leave the skin on for cooking, but be sure to remove the skin and the fat underneath before eating. And lastly, bake, broil, or grill when you cook poultry. The alternative cooking methods, like frying, add extra fat. Cooking melts away much of the fat in poultry, so put it on a rack on a baking pan to ensure the excess fat drips away. The next food on our list is economical and protein-rich eggs. One large egg has about 6 grams of protein, but eggs also have cholesterol, about 185 milligrams for one large one. Eggs have gotten a bad rap over the last several years, but according to the United States Department of Agriculture, 1 egg a day on average does not increase one's risk for heart disease. And since only the egg yolk contains saturated fat and cholesterol, you can enjoy as many egg whites as you'd like without concerns about heart health. Plus, you can find egg replacement products made from egg whites on many grocery store shelves. Eggs can be a great addition any time of day, but they're mostly associated with breakfast. This is for good reason. Starting your day with an egg may help you stay satisfied longer. Research published in a 2014 issue of the Nutrition Journal has indicated that eating high-protein snacks improves appetite control and satiety. If you often find yourself starving between breakfast and lunch, consider starting your day with an egg. Note, if you are currently being treated for high cholesterol or heart disease, talk with your health care provider prior to adding eggs to your diet. Next up is seafood. Seafood is rich in protein. One fillet has about 20 to 25 grams of protein, depending on the type of fish. A quarter cup of tuna fish has about 11 grams of protein, and a quarter cup of sardines has about 13 grams of protein. Plus, seafood is naturally low in saturated fat, and fatty fish is loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, making it a heart-healthy pick too. The United States Department of Agriculture recommends that everyone eat fish twice a week in place of meat or poultry. Fish is a versatile food. There are several types, each with their own individual flavor. The USDA recommends choosing an assortment including some that are higher in oils and low in mercury, like salmon, trout, and herring. Fish can also be prepared in many different and healthy ways. It can be baked or broiled in the oven, grilled, or poached. Note that seafood is a common food allergy. If you are allergic to seafood, talk to your healthcare provider to find alternative ways to get the nutrients that you need. Yogurt, as well as other dairy products, is a good example of a complete protein, but there are many different types of yogurts on supermarket shelves, and it can be difficult to know which ones to purchase. Yogurt is made by fermenting milk with beneficial bacterial cultures called probiotics. Probiotics may help the body in many ways. Most notably, it helps the natural flora in the intestines to flourish. When choosing yogurt, keep these tips in mind. Consider looking for Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is produced by straining the yogurt to remove liquid whey. This leaves behind a thick, creamy yogurt that contains about twice as much protein as regular yogurt. Look for options with the least amount of added sugars. All yogurts contain some naturally occurring sugars from lactose, but many varieties have sugar added to them too. You can see the amount of added sugar by looking on the nutrition facts label or by scanning the ingredient list for these words: brown sugar, corn, sweetener, corn syrup, dextrose, fructose, fruit juice concentrate, glucose, high fructose corn syrup, honey, invert sugar, maltose, molasses, raw sugar, sucrose, syrup, and table sugar. Plain yogurts are often the preferred choice for avoiding lots of added sugars. You can add your own fruit to give plain yogurt some sweetness. Plain yogurt can also be used in place of sour cream, as a base for dips, or as a marinade for meats. Note, some people are unable to digest dairy products. If this applies to you, talk to your healthcare provider to find out alternative ways to get the nutrients that you need. The next food on our list is lentils. These are high in protein and fiber, but low in fat, making them an excellent substitute for meat. 1 cup of cooked lentils contains about 18 grams of protein. Plus, they're loaded with vitamins and minerals like folate, iron, phosphorus, potassium, and fiber. Lentils are part of the legume family, along with beans and peas. All legumes grow in pods, and they make for good sources of plant-based protein. Unlike the other foods we've been talking about today, legumes are incomplete protein sources, so they don't contain all the essential amino acids the body needs. However, when greens and legumes are eaten together, they form a complete protein. There are many types of lentils, but the most common varieties are brown, green, and red. Most supermarkets stock brown lentils. These are the least expensive, and they hold their texture if cooked correctly. They can be served as a side dish, molded into a veggie burger, or in soups. They're easy to prepare. Place them in a pot and cover with about ½ inch of water and bring them to a boil. Reduce heat and simmer. Uncover for about 30 minutes. Check them frequently and add water if needed. You can season them with garlic, cumin, thyme, or other seasonings. Tofu is made from condensed soy milk that is pressed into solid blocks. In many ways, tofu is to soy milk what cheese is to milk. Its similarities to cheese end there. It isn't something that is used as you would cheese. Soybean products like tofu, tempeh, and edamame are rare plant proteins that contain all of the essential amino acids. A slice of firm tofu contains about 13 grams of protein. Don't be intimidated by tofu and tempeh. If you're looking to add them to your diet, there are many ways to do it. Tofu can be used in a variety of ways, and it comes in different textures, soft to firm. It doesn't have any particular taste. Instead, it takes on the flavors of whatever it's cooked with. One of the most popular ways to use it is to add it to stir fries. You'll need extra firm or firm tofu for this. This type of tofu holds its shape well and can also be used for grilling, baking, and sautéing. Just chop it into slices, coat the pieces in cornstarch, and brown them with a bit of canola oil in a wok over high heat with other stir-fry ingredients. You can also add marinated, grilled, baked, or broiled tofu or tempeh to salads. In fact, these soy products work as a meat replacement for many dishes in which you'd ordinarily use chicken, pork, and beef. Tempeh is firm and chewy and has a slight, earthy, sweet taste. Its texture and taste make it a good replacement for bacon in a BLT. Lastly, tofu can be used in soups and smoothies, or anything that needs a creamy, thickening ingredient. But you'll need to add the silken variety tofu to your food processor to blend it in. Some people might be concerned about GMOs. Most of the world's soybeans are grown in the United States, and a very large amount is genetically modified. According to an overview published in 2014 of research from the last 10 years, there's no indication that genetically modified foods are harmful to human health. And I also do want to point out that I mentioned edamame in here, which is soybeans, and that is one of the protein sources we'll be using in our cooking demo today. Okay, next up is another plant-based protein, almonds. All types of nuts, not just almonds and nut butters, contain protein and heart-healthy fats. Almonds in particular have about 6 grams of protein per 1 ounce serving. Consider following these tips. Add grains to help make a complete protein. Nuts aren't a complete protein like some of the other foods we've talked about. However, adding grains, like making an almond butter sandwich on whole grain bread, for example, helps make them complete. Choose unsalted varieties to avoid unwanted sodium. Nuts often come salted or are sometimes covered in sugar or chocolate. This may cancel out many of the heart health benefits that are associated with nuts. Opt for varieties that are raw or dry roasted instead. Practice moderation. A serving is considered to be 1 ounce or about 1 small handful. Nuts are high in calories, so it's important to understand the serving size and stick to it. 1 ounce of almonds contains about 170 calories. Note, nuts are a common food allergy. If you are allergic to nuts, talk to your healthcare provider to find out alternative ways to get the nutrients you need. These are often high in protein, fiber, and other nutrients as well. Per ounce, these seeds deliver a hefty dose of protein. Sunflower seeds have 6 grams, pumpkin seeds 8 grams, flax seeds 8 grams, and chia seeds 5 grams. Seeds can be eaten in a variety of ways. Some types, like sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds, can be eaten alone as a snack. Other types like flax seeds and chia seeds are easy to add to soups, salads, and smoothies for a protein boost. The final food on our list is quinoa. Quinoa is a hearty, protein-rich seed, usually considered to be a whole grain. One of the biggest benefits of quinoa is that it's rich in protein, with about 8 grams of protein per cup. It also contains all 9 essential amino acids. In addition to being an excellent source of plant-based protein, quinoa is rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. According to the National Library of Medicine, it may even help boost good HDL cholesterol thanks to its heart-healthy fat. And for people with celiac disease or others following a gluten-free diet, quinoa is a good grain option because it doesn't contain any gluten. Quinoa is easy to cook and tasty to eat. It can be prepared in about 15 to 20 minutes. It cooks very similarly to rice. All you have to do is add 1 part quinoa to 2 parts water and simmer until tender, usually about 15 minutes. Quinoa has a mild, nutty flavor with a crunchy texture, and it pairs well with many foods. Here are some ideas. Add cooked quinoa to soups or vegetarian chili during cold months. Add a sprinkle of brown sugar and fruit to serve it as a hot cereal. Add vegetables and vinaigrette dressing to make a nutritious salad. All right, so now we are going to move into our cooking demonstration. And after that, I will come back and we will wrap up.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining me. Today, I am going to show you how to make an edamame salad with orange balsamic dressing. And this recipe comes from the American Heart Association. And I thought I wanted to use this recipe because we're using a couple different sources of protein here. We've got our edamame, which is soybeans, and you can buy these in the freezer section already pre-shelled. And then I've got some navy beans here. So different sources of protein, which is why I wanted to use these. So first off, let's go through our ingredients. I have 1.5. I also have 3 total tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons in my dressing and 1 tablespoon to season up my beans here. Then I've got a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil. You want to try and use that extra virgin. It's got the most heart-healthy fats in it. And then I also have a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then I have 1 can of navy beans. You could use really any other kind of beans that you wanted. Any of them would be good. Now you want to try and get the no salt added version, but you still do want to drain and rinse those. Try and get all that salt out of there. I then have, and a lot of people notice that when they consume cucumbers, sometimes they have a little bit of gas, a little bit of acid reflux, and English cucumbers tend to be okay for people. So I am going to also leave that skin on to keep a lot of that fiber in there. And then I have aroma tomato, some shredded carrots, and some radishes. So first things first is I am going to season up this edamame. So I'm going to Take my edamame and my navy beans, and I am going to combine those. Then I'm going to just give them a little bit of flavor there. And then I will let that sit so that they can kind of soak in that flavor while I make my dressing. So this looks really good. All right, so I'm just gonna let that set aside, and I am going to make my dressing now. So I'm going to just mix it in this measuring cup because I have plenty of room. So I've got my fourth cup of orange juice. I'm going to add my Dijon mustard. And then I'm also everything really good. So this looks really good. All right, so I'm just gonna set that aside while I chop up my veggies here. So I've already got my carrots done. I'm going to do my cucumber, and I'm just gonna slice them up and then slice them in half. You could really dice them however you would like. And you could add other vegetables to this. You could leave some out if you don't like them. This is just really an easy salad. I think the most important thing is the protein here. So something to keep in mind is that you could have this salad as a main dish because it has protein in it. So that's always, I'm gonna slice up my radishes. I love radishes. So if you don't like them, again, you could totally leave them out or add more. I personally, since I love them, I'm gonna add a few more. And I'm just dicing them. You could cut them smaller or leave them bigger if you wanted. It doesn't really matter. Now, something to keep in mind is to be sure to wash your vegetables. Just rinse them off with water to get all that dirt. And then again, I'm leaving that skin on just because that has so much fiber. I'm just gonna, let's see here, dice this up. I like the aromas because they're a little bit more firm, especially in a salad. So if you want to, eat this salad multiple times, I would just dice everything up, keep this in the fridge, and then build it each day, however you wanted. And that should keep everything super fresh for you. All right. A couple more cuts here. All right, so that looks super good. Got all our veggies. A lot of good lunch in there. So, and then I am going to add my cucumber. This looks so good already. Then I'm gonna add my tomatoes here. Oh, yum. And then my shredded carrots. This is such a colorful lunch. I'm really excited. My radishes. And then I'm going to add this bean mixture. I want to add a decent amount of it because that's where I'm getting my protein from in this salad. There you have it, an edamame salad with a citrus balsamic.
All right, I hope you give that a shot. And we're going to end today with just a real quick review. Protein is the building block of life. Every cell in the human body needs it to function well. While some protein can be made by the body, non-essential, some can't, essential. This is where food comes in. Food sources of protein falls into 3 separate categories: complete proteins, which contain all 9 essential amino acids; incomplete proteins, which are missing one or more; and complementary proteins, which are incomplete proteins that form complete proteins when eaten together. Most Americans get the recommended amounts of protein, 46 grams per day for women and 56 grams per day for men. The 10 foods we talked about can help ensure you're meeting your protein goals in a healthy way. These include lean beef, poultry, seafood, eggs, yogurt, lentils, tofu, almonds, seeds, and quinoa. Now here are some references that I have, and then we also did upload the link to the recipe that was used today. Here's some more references. And then that concludes our presentation. So if you have any questions, please feel free to submit them and we would be happy to answer them. Thank you for joining us and have a really wonderful day.